Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Harkin. Today, I am joined by Ash Williams, who is fighting for the 65 kilogram hybrid title on Rhondda Rampage 3 on February the 8th. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Ash to give himself a little bit of introduction.
Yeah, uh, so my name is Ashley the Peaky Striker Williams. I've been around this game quite a long time. Mainly predominantly a striker, but probably I've taken too many MMA fights to count as well. This will be my 100th and so
Say
yeah,
it, Ash, Ash,
bit of a
before you
man of
do,
fighting like
sorry, before you do, say it again. You stuck then. It's your 100th and what fight?
my 111th professional fight.
I like it. Fair play. Fair play.
So yeah, yeah, mainly, we all had mainly. I hate the word journeyman, but I'd like to say I'm a bit of a glorified stand-up fight journeyman. You know what I mean? Like I like anything stand-up, I take very seriously. MMA, I don't overly take that serious. I'm just happy to step in there and fight anyone. But for this show, for especially things that have higher risk, like fighting with small gloves. I don't want to go in there and get injured. I don't want to
Yeah.
be cut open. As much as I love a fight, I actually want to go in there and put on a clinic. And to be honest, the less padding I have on, like in for example the BKB or hybrid or 8 ounce gloves or whatever, I tend to shine. I tend to do a lot better with. So
Mm.
that's why I'm really looking forward to this. And the opponent, he's a real good boy. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is
he is.
slick as fuck.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like,
So
coming from the amateurs and he made his return on Rhondda Rampage 1 and seeing his boxing finesse, like I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the smaller gloves. Like you said, it's the freedom in the smaller gloves, isn't it? And having two guys that I interviewed Jori yesterday, and one of the things Jori says is he's a counter striker. He is a counter striker, but then also he's somebody that comes to fight, and then to meet you in the middle with somebody else who comes to fight, I think it's gonna be the best place for the two of you to showcase what you're both made of. And I think with the small gloves as well, I think it's perfect.
oh, absolutely. And the best thing is, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't come from an amateur background as far as boxing goes, but I've been around, I've fought some decent professionals, I've fought some good amateurs. Like the boxing scene is, especially with the big gloves, is always hard to demonstrate your skill because unless you've got it from a young age, it is hard. But the smaller the gloves, the more your kind of grit and unique style can definitely play into a factor, especially with fighting someone like him. Like if he thinks I'm going to go in there and try and straight box him, then that's really not a good idea for me because he's predominantly a boxer. But what I like with our styles is that I can be quite unique and I can switch up.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping, to be honest, we're both counter fighters. Like if
yeah,
you look at my BKB fights, you look at anything like that, it's all counter shots. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I can't use my legs, which are my main thing. But with the hands, it's looking for that big shot. But I can't wing anything because if I
Mm.
wing anything, I know he's fast as fuck, so he can counter on it.
Yeah,
But as I said, I've done my homework. To be fair, with him, I've done my homework and I've studied a lot of his fights only because I respect him that much for it. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Again, with the MMA fights, when I take them, 9 times out of 10, they want to do the grapple game and they just want to take down and then play that game. But with this guy, we are locked in there and we've only got 4 ounce gloves on, and one of us are either going to sleep or we're going to get fucking hurt. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Sorry, I shouldn't swear, but
No, no, dude, you
yeah,
can
but
swear.
I just
Ash, you
think,
can swear all you want, bro. I swear like fuck, so you're fine.
there we go. There we go. Yeah. So it's more like because the lights are going to be bright on this in regards to like like Flow is growing as a massive like as a big organization in the UK at the minute. Um, and I want to use this as a stepping stone. Now, realistically, I've got 3 years left in this game before I call it a day and I just go into teaching. I want to get belts, I want to get recognized, and I don't want to be known as the guy who can just throw a shot or and will come to fight. I want to be known as a dangerous guy I'm not the MMA guy, and I'm okay with that. But I'll still fight anyone in MMA. But as
Yeah.
far as it goes with boxing, K1, BKB, things like that, I'm just going back out there now to show that I'm fucking dangerous when I want to be, and
Mm.
when I have a full camp, or when I have people that I can work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is probably the best way I can show that off. You know?
And that's, I think, with that as well, one of the things that you said is I've watched you fight MMA, I've watched you fight K1, I've also watched you box as well. I've watched your BKB fights on YouTube. I've seen your, I've seen your skills. I'm Jori's coach as well, so obviously I've studied you, I've looked at there, and we've looked at we've done the same thing. And I think with the two of you coming into this one, I think being like our first one of the year, I think it's going to be the best way. And this is why you the main event. This is why there's a title on it. This is why, we're pushing it the way that we are, is we know that the two of you are going to come in to fight, and we know that everyone who's in there and everyone who's bought a ticket is going to be on the edge of their seat when you two hit that at the ring, because of the fact that, like you said, you've got the attitude of you're coming in now to prove a point. And then with Jori wants to come in and he always wants to prove a point. So I think that this is going to be the best clash of styles for a matchup that we possibly got.
Absolutely. And like I said, I can see that your guy works hard. Like
Mm.
I said, I'm not, don't get me wrong. I'm going in there to try and knock him the fuck
Yeah.
out. Absolutely. And he's going to do the same. And why wouldn't he? Like I said, but I also don't need to shit talk him and take anything away from him. I know the guy works hard and I know he's there to fight.
Mm.
But like I said, I'm also not going to be a stepping stone for people anymore just because I'm taking a fight last minute because everyone else is shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like, I'm some big tough guy because I take fights, but I am one of the guys who will step in and be like, I don't care. It's
Yeah.
fine. I'll fight him because everyone else is trying to protect their records. And I understand that and I get it. But also, like, even if your boy wins,
Mm.
I'm gonna go in there and he better fucking earn it then. Because I'm gonna go in
Yeah.
there to make sure that, I'm not rolling over for anyone. And like I said, I'm going there for the same job and then I want to go back to BKB eventually, you know what I mean? And like I said, I purposely separated myself. I had a lot to deal with, kind of not major issues, but personal issues. I wanted to get a lot of things in order with work, with the kids, with everything, with life. I just wanted to get it all sorted, and I have, and I'm in that mindset now of okay, everything's done. I don't
Mm.
have to worry. I can go into a fight now and be focused on who's in front of me rather than everything else that's going on outside.
Yeah, I get that. And one of the things that I want to say as well is that when we announced the fight, like you the fight was obviously 6 weeks ago. It was on Christmas Day we actually announced the fight, so you've got that time, you've got
Yeah,
the, we agreed it prior. It was like early December, I think we agreed upon the fight, wasn't it? So you've had that opportunity to bring, like you said, to bring
yeah.
your best self, which I'll be honest, I'm excited for, from a coach's perspective, and then not just that, but from a promoter's perspective. I know that, as we said, bringing in a challenge, that's what FFC and Rhondda Rampage is about. It's about putting, giving the opportunity to have two people come in, do the work, do what they go out to train to do, and leave it all in it. And like I said, that's why we brought you in, and that's why, and not just that. As soon as we announced the fight that you were fighting Jori, everyone was talking about it. Me and Mark were talking about it on another podcast, and then like everywhere we went, everyone was like,
Oh, Mac, yeah.
it's like, oh, that's a great fight, that's a great, and it is. And like I said, that's what we're trying to aim for. So one of the questions that I want to ask is, where does the Peaky Striker come from? Your nickname?
You know what's mad, right? So for years, I always wanted a fight name, and I was desperate to get a fight name. And one of the boys, Jack, I said, if anyone can ever find me a good fight name that goes with Ashley Williams, because I'm named after a ballet dancer, and I tell you what, it's really hard to get a fight name that goes with that. You know what I mean? Like, because no, Ashley's not an intimidating name whatsoever. So anyway, Jack messaged me out of the blue and goes, "Oh, you're the Peaky Striker." And I said to him, I said, "I'm going to send you 50 quid right now, just because you come up with this name." I said, "For a name," and I said, "I finally got it." So yeah, it started with that. But I wore this hat. My grandfather passed away, and the only thing I wanted off him, I didn't want money, I didn't want anything. I just wanted his hat, and I started wearing it. And I had, believe it or not, I had really good hair back then. So I wasn't bald as fuck. So I was wearing it all the time. And then I started to thin a bit, and then I was like, all right, then the fucking hat's staying on permanently. So, but nah, it's more so it's just it's a homage to my grandfather. You know what I mean? Like every fight they ever done, he was severely disabled, so I couldn't really ever have him there. So this was my way of just having him there. And then obviously the Peaky Striker just goes. I don't know. That was a bit of fake. Like I think it,
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like
you
that.
know.
That is yeah, and especially as you said, it's always in homage in it, and that's yeah, that's fucking cool. That is. I got a lot of time for that. That's nice, man. Now,
Yeah, no, it's like I'm fucking hell, mate. I love stuff like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like if you're doing it, do it for a reason. There's don't get me wrong, I'm all up for being selfish, but if you got a little bit of extra motivation and things like that, or you got a little bit of an extra fucking angel on your shoulder, it
yeah.
definitely helps you when you're getting your face punched in the middle of a fight. Like you know what I mean?
That is true. That is very true, man. So fair play. Now, one of the things I wanted to touch on, as we introduced you and we said about your career, and obviously we touched on MMA just now. Now, one of the things I wanted to say is obviously you've had a very impressive career across all of the different in combat, different disciplines in combat sports. Now, from bare knuckle to K1 to MMA, which one of those was your favorite type of discipline? I know you said about your legs, but out of the other one, out of everyone, which is your favorite?
Do you know what's weird is that I always like so I've had like kickboxing world titles and things like that and K1 like British and European titles and things. But do you know what? The one thing that I actually picked up super easy was the boxing.
Mm,
And but it's I know it sounds really, really childish, but it because it doesn't involve my legs, I don't feel that's me at 100%. So I
okay.
don't think I give myself enough credit. But I'll be honest, the boxing, the bare knuckle training was the best I ever felt. Like the last fight I took, I shouldn't have taken. My head was scrambled. Not again, nothing major. And I'm not doing like, oh my God, my mental health. No, it wasn't. It was scrambled as in there was a lot going on, and there was no time to train. There was no time for a camp. There was no time for anything. I'll be honest, in my last BKB fight, I done 2 training sessions and then got on, in front of like 50, 60,000 people watching live or whatever. And then had to go fight, one of a Commonwealth gold medalist, you know what I mean? And I still got in there and I still went 2 rounds, but he burst my eardrum the first punch. And then after that, then it was just I become a punch bag for a laugh. Like, but before that, when I fought Bogdan Saru and when I fought oh my goodness, Sean McPike, like they were quite credible people. They were actually Sean McPike was a high level amateur, and then Bogdan Saru was a world champion in K1. And I got to be honest, because the danger of fighting with just bare knuckle, and I knew like, I'd be split open. I was expecting to go in there and just be covered in blood and it be carnage. But I found it far more easier to fight and gain distance, gain control of the ring. And then I was landing the shots. And again, if you look at it, in the first fight, I didn't take one punch. And in the second fight, um, I literally landed one shot and I blew his eye open.
Yeah.
So the smaller the gloves and the more danger I'm in, I feel like because I want to go out there and show the best version. Even if I lose, I'm okay with losing, but I ain't losing looking like a fairy, if that makes sense. I ain't
No, I
going
got
out
you.
there looking like I've just gone in there just to get beat up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, and like I said to the boys, I wanted to take a bit of time from bare knuckle because I don't ever want to do myself the disjustice of going in there, fighting, but fighting with the worst camp in the world. Like
Mm.
this camp now, I've started doing I've started just getting my fitness up. I know how to fight and I know what I'm going to be doing. But now this week, now I started sparring, I've started working, and I've got my game plan. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. But again, it's a bit awkward because I work with Cornelius. And you know Cornelius, fantastic fighter, and he's an
Yeah.
absolute weapon. Like,
Yeah.
he's my best pals, and we train together and everything. But obviously, he's very good friends with. Is it what? So I'm terrible at announcing names. What is your gentleman's name that I'm fighting? I don't want to
Jor
disrespect him like that.
Jori Lee Lewis, but Jory.
Yori,
Jory. J.
Jori. Okay, Jori. So like he knows Jori really well, and fair play, called and said, "Look, I'm not getting involved." And he goes, "I love you both. You're gonna fight, great." And that's fine, and that's perfect because it just meant then that I'll stay separate from this. So I'm doing all my work. I'm trying to keep my cards close to my chest. So I'm not going to say too much,
Of
but
course,
I'm
of
doing
course.
work with some very decent level boys, and I'm actually getting sparring now. So I'm going to be able to I'm going to feel very comfortable in there. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being able to get back in there and go like and say to myself, "Oh, there we are, Ash. You've actually worked hard. Now you can go in there and show off your skill." Where before I was going in there going, "All right, fuck it, let's see what happens."
Yeah. And one of the things to touch on with Colin is he come up to Apollo on Friday, and the first that he walked through the door and the first thing he come up to me and he grabbed me. He was like, "Bro," he said, "I've told Ash and I'm going to tell you the same thing. I'm not going to get involved. I love the two of
Yeah.
you. I
No,
love,
but
and I just want to
yeah,
say like it shows like Cornelius is he's like you said, he's sharp as fuck he is. But one of the things with that is this the respect, it's the fact that there's respect between everybody there.
yeah,
There's no animosity in the fact it's like, oh fucking, do this or do that. No, it's just like you said, he comes up with us, we do that extra bit, and you know, like we said, we're pushing for the fucking best fight we possibly can. And you're in, obviously, as you said, you're in about sparring and you're in about this extra training you're doing. It just makes it more exciting from our perspective, and obviously, from yours as well. Because, like we said, this is the reason why we put you as the main event, you and Jory for the main event, is because we know that everyone's we've got. I don't want to say how many confirmed fights we got yet. The only reason being is obviously I don't want to put any fucking jinx on
yeah.
anything, right? Because you know what it's like. But
Oh yeah, no, mate, yeah. Just announce it on the day. Don't worry
in
about
there,
it. Fucking
in
hell,
there.
yeah. Don't do that.
But one of the things I want to say is like
But
we try and make sure that everybody from the first fight until the fucking last one is there on the edge of their seats and they are looking for it. And like I said, that's why we've pushed for this one. And be honest, I can't. It makes me excited listening to how much prep that you're doing as well.
yeah, no, mate. Like I said, no, normally I don't get a chance to. But one thing I will say, and even credit to you guys, like the build up you've had through Flow Fight, where I remember seeing you guys in Wally's show a couple of years ago, and you were just selling a couple of bits here and there. And
Mm.
like I said, I won't go into detail, but I was working last night, and three gentlemen who were enjoying their night out actually had your equipment on, and some of the hoodies on, and yeah, we're clearly Flow Fight fans and that. But I just thought it was really cool. I've just never, normally they come out in Venom or they come out in
Yeah,
Everlast shit or whatever.
yeah,
But I seen that and I actually went up to them and I was like, "Oh, boys, and it's just nice, mate. It's just credit to you guys. And like even the fight show, the only show I haven't actually been to is one of yours. But I'm
yeah.
very lucky that now I get to fight on it and the first time I'm going to one, I'm actually fighting and we're scrapping for a belt like so it's
Exactly. And touching on the equipment stuff, like that's how obviously like I said I've seen you fight loads of times before, and that's how me and you started the conversation, wasn't it? We flowed on equipment for yourself, and then from there it was we were already talking, and I already had an idea. I was thinking to myself,
yeah,
because I said to
you
Liam
just set that up like
yeah, because I said to Liam, the matchmaker, I was like, Liam, I was like, I won. I think this is the perfect fight, but I think this is what we want. And like
yeah.
as soon as you sent me, I just said to you, as we were talking about the show, and you sent me all your information. I was like, right, yep, fuck it, let's go. He's gonna be doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's in.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, when I was telling you that I need small equipment, and they were like, "Fuck it, we'll put the small boys to scrap." Like,
let's put the small gloves on and let's have it fucking going. I love it. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Now,
No,
one of the
mate, I like.
go on.
Sorry, just giving a shout out for the equipment. Like I said, I've had a few fights with that at the minute, but I haven't wear it all on the night I fight for yours. But like the gloves, just spot like I credit where it's due, mate. Without a doubt, the best pair of gloves I've had made. Like and I've had three pairs made off some of the companies who thought they were a lot bigger, and yours are much better, much better designed, and the quality on them is. I was really impressed. I'm again not looking for a sponsor, just at least
No,
being honest and
I appreciate
saying to
it.
you that I was well impressed. I was well impressed with the gear.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thanks very much. Now, one of the points that you brought up just now was your fight against Bogdan Saru in BKB. Now, one of the things that I love, I fucking love bare knuckle. Like I love it, right? I've been a bare knuckle
Yeah.
fan since it kind of like broke through, and then you've got Game Bred MMA as well, which is bare knuckle MMA, and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like it's raw as fuck. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, right?
Oh
What
yeah.
what did you take from that fight with Bogdan? Because as you said, it was a good scrap, very good scrap, and it's the same as your first one. Like I watched your first one, and when you threw that back uppercut that you kept landing, what's the
Yeah.
feeling with that shot that you land there, which is bone on bone compared to the smaller gloves or the bigger gloves? What does that feel like?
I'll be honest. It's actually easier to gauge what you're doing with
Mm,
less on.
yeah,
So, for example, like when I'm quite a decent hitter for K1 in 10-ounce gloves.
yeah.
It's hard to explain, mate, but like I broke my hand on Bogdan's face, and then all of a sudden my bone is hanging off the other side. But I'd already known that it just gave me a far easier indication of what was happening with the shot.
Mm,
And like, like even like for example, like when you line up a shot and like when you hit the jab out, like I was landing it, and then when you put the other hand, when you were swinging or when I caught, it just feels totally different. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not comparing it because you've got like boys like Sean George, all the ones who have had wars. So
yeah.
I don't know what it's like when you've had your hands broken, you're in the fifth round and you're absolutely smashed to smithereens. Your
No,
hands probably feel really shitty then.
yeah, they're a bit fucked,
But
like.
as far as yeah. Like you ain't opening up ketchup anytime soon with that. You know what I mean? But he like like I was lucky I didn't get any of that,
Yeah.
and I do want it. But right now I'm okay with let's just build back up, and then we'll go for the holy fuck wars. Like you know what I
Mm.
mean? Because right now I just want to get back into it. But yeah, as far as the shots go, mate, it just lets you know it's happening for real, and you can't make a mistake. You can't make a mistake at all.
Yeah, now that's one of the things that we've all looked at and everyone has spoke about whenever they look at the hybrid or the bare knuckle is you've got zero room for zero mistakes. There's,
Yeah,
you
like did you watch? Sorry, just really quick. Did you watch Dan Lerwell's fight last night?
no, no, I didn't.
So Dan Lerwell is an absolute gentleman and is and one of the kings of BKB. He is an animal, and what he goes forward to do for the autism, what he goes forward to do for his kids, and I've worked alongside him as well. Dan is an absolute gentleman, and like I said, I'm a fan of his in BKB. But it just goes to show. Last night, that unfortunately, and again, it's gutting because he's such a good fighter, but he got clipped on the first shot that was thrown, and then that was it.
So I
And it
mean,
just goes to show you can, Dan's got a wicked chin and he's a phenomenal fighter. But it just goes to show you get hit by a big shot. And it doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter who
no.
you are, doesn't matter if you're, like you said, Tyson, any of the best guys in the world, you get hit bare knuckle in the right spot, in the right place, that is it's just game over. And
Yeah.
I think that's why I prefer the less gloves because it it just nobody wants to be someone's highlight reel
Yeah,
at all.
that is
Do you
very
know what I
true.
mean?
That is very true. Nobody does want to be on anybody else's highlight
Like
reel.
yeah, I got sent to the shadow realm by Lorenzo, the Welsh zombie.
Mm,
I don't know if you've seen the head kick he does,
I
and I credit
have.
where it's due. Still to this day, the hardest shot I've ever taken. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly. And it makes me laugh because like the first round, I jumped up in the air and I done a spinning back kick and I dropped him, and he got back up. So we both created highlight reels that night. But that knockout he had on me, and it's not even the fact that it ever hurt me or
Yeah.
diminished my chin, but that I said to myself, I didn't want to be that again. I don't want to be someone's like highlight reel of being knocked out because that was
Mm.
bad, and that was just down to I wasn't fit enough to carry on. You know what I mean? But that was fair play to him, credit where it's due. Even to this day, I see him and I tell him, I'm like, I still have nightmares about that one. Like,
I still see that leg coming in the dark.
Yeah, yeah. He's got my chin on his mantelpiece, like, you know what
Now, one of the things I
I mean?
wanted to touch on is the mental preparation. Obviously, you've had now, well, as you said, over 100 fights. Now, is there anything different that you do mentally in preparation for any of them, depending on discipline?
Um, so the best person to ask for this is Curtis Dodge. He is my cornerman for a lot of these fights and things like that, and Owen Watkins as well. But when I've gone into these fights, a lot of the time, I don't want to be one of these corny guys, but the main thing I do, I get calm. I'm always chilled. I listen to music. I'm just chilling. Is I do my prayers before I go on. I got a picture. I got about 10 pictures that are important to me. I do my prayer, and as soon as I'm calm as can be. And maybe that's a bad thing because every time I'm being calm, I tend to not go my way. I need to get riled up maybe. But yeah, I just do that mentally from about the last 10, maybe 8 years ago. Something switched
Hmm.
and I'm just very calm in it. And I try and give the advice to the boys because I've had boys who are like 6 fights in and they're like throwing up nervous, they pacing, they're this, they're that. Mate, at the end of the day, it does not matter what happens. You've got a referee in there who can keep you safe.
Yeah.
You've got a group of people, you know, it's not, although it's barbaric if you're looking at it, and if you wrote down like, oh, you're going into a cage to fight someone till either one of you are, knocked out or choked out. Yeah, it sounds savage when you do it like that, but it's actually one of the most beautiful arts you can do. I would rather go into an octagon, fight the guy till we're both bloody and bruised, than go on a rugby pitch with 15 other dudes with metal togs on. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
And I just
I
think
get you.
mentally,
I get you dead on.
you know what I
And
mean?
when you said about that expression of art as well, that's Joe Rogan said it, doesn't he? It's like martial arts is a form of art, but using the human body, and
Yeah,
that's so true.
absolutely.
Like when you see people
I
do the things that they can do and do it well and do it right. That's so fucking hypnotic. Like when you see like Bivol, for example, or somebody, with good
Oh,
feet,
yeah.
and it is, you're just engrossed, and you look, it's like one of the things I watch a lot of is like the Soviet style, like the bouncing in, the bouncing out, the bouncing in, the bouncing out.
Yes, yeah.
And I can just sit there for hours and just watch it, and it's so fucking hypnotic. And I
Yeah.
agree with you, it
And
is an expression of art.
it's the thing is, and like I always say to people, like people always you get it quite a lot and a lot of fighters do, especially like if you're like I work as a doorman. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything like that. Believe it or not, although I look rough as tits, I'm probably the cleanest doorman you'll ever, yeah, cleanest fighter you'll ever see because I just never been interested in it. But
You don't look rough as tits, mind
one
Ash, just so you know.
of the things I get quite a lot is, oh, you must be really hard. And I always say to people, I'm like, no, 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 well, my nose is wonky, it's all right. But I get,
Uh, some technical issues.
you get that quite a lot. And I always say to people, I'm like, if you've done rugby for 27 years, would
Yeah.
you be that long? You're going to get okay at it. Hello?
Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you
Can you hear
back.
me?
I got you. We went to 27 years rugby. You're gonna be all right today. That's what I got at the end there.
Yeah. I, yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, if you've done something long enough, you're going to be okay at it, and that's
Of
how I
course.
look at fighting. Like I dedicated myself for 27 years to learn karate, kung fu, kickboxing, and all these styles. And like I said, eventually you're going to be okay. You're pretty good at it.
Mm,
And yes, I can handle myself, but again, I do it, and I love the happiest place for me is when I do it in a cage or a ring
yeah.
where I can just let go. Like
Be
the best fight I ever had. I'm only just rambling a minute. Am I right to ramble?
Ramble all you want, brother. Ramble all you want.
Now, um, I fought two of the best fights I ever had was against Junior Coleman and And a gentleman I fought, I can't remember his name, my God. I fought him about 3, 4 fights. And seeing how long these guys are dedicated to their craft, and people looked at them as if they were old. And I tell you what, seeing how good they were at the last guy I fought was 47 years of age, and it was for his retirement fight in K1. And we had 5 rounds of war. And again, it's not something that I scream and shout about because it's just one of them fights you just go out there and enjoy. But honestly, mate, he was the most respectful and most sounds stupid, but like his style was just beautiful. The guy had knocked out like 10 people with head kicks. He was a savage. Can't even remember his name. And it really annoys me because I really respect him a lot. But anyway, we went to a decision.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not going to take away from him, but do I think that maybe home crowd and that played a little bit? Probably did, and it was his retirement fight. So I don't really think I was ever going to win a decision, if I'm honest. That's not taking away from him. That's just me saying. He definitely gave me an idea in the last round. I was bollocks tired. But but like seeing at 47 years of age how elegant he was with his kicks, like people would go like, "Oh, well, you lost to an old guy." Mate, that old guy had all this experience rolled up into one ball. He head kicked me, punched me, and dropped me back to a knee, all within like a split second, and split my eye open. I even said to the ref, I said, "What the fuck did he hit me with?" Like as if like I was confused, like I thought there was another guy in there. You know what I mean? And it just goes to show, like, you body. Like this dude was fit for his age, like and an absolute savage.
Hmm.
But I'm just saying, like, he dedicated himself for nearly 20 odd, 30 odd years. And I want to be like that. I want to be someone who can pass on the knowledge, but also, just make it look elegant. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If I can still do a tornado kick at 50 years of age, I've done all right then, haven't I?
Yeah. I think you've done all right there, but yeah, definitely. Now,
You know?
going on to obviously one of the things that you just said in that was the fitness and the training aspect and being so good to watch. Now, and one of the things you said from the start of this podcast was that you've upped your training, you've been able to train a lot more yourself. Now, coming back to fighting Jori, as an opponent, is there anything else that you've taken on board from, the research you've done or, even not even just that, just I don't think this is going to actually affect you because how many times you've fought, but like the local boy in the local show, do you know what I mean? Like, is that any extra pressure on
Yeah.
you?
No, I got to be honest. If anything, I've actually seen him as the outsider
Okay.
because I always class anything in the local vicinity, as in Rhondda, Swansea, Cardiff, things like that. Although I'm not from there, I'm from Bridgend. I still see it as my local home.
Hmm.
So if I fight in Wales, that for me is me fighting home crowd. So I don't care. I don't, he could have everyone there and I could have 4 people there. It doesn't really
Yeah.
make a difference to me. I like being the home guy, the guy away because you always get the people in the crowd. You'll get the uncle, right, who's never watched a fight in his life, screaming at you, going, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die," and it's like, okay, no problem. And then you end up cracking their boy or something, and then by the end of the fight, he's the uncle's going like at you. You done well, good fight, good. You know what I mean? Like
No, I
I,
do
I
know
like
them
making
people.
fans out of people. Yeah, I like making fans out of people, especially in fighting, mate. Like I said, you get a lot of people who don't understand it, but when they actually see two guys putting it on the line, you get a lot of fans out of it, and that's what I just want to do up there. I just want to go up there. I'm there to ruin his party. I'm there to piss him off in regards to like, take his belt and things like that. But also, you know, I can't take away that he's got a brilliant team. You guys are growing, and also, like I said, I've only asked Cornelius one question about him. I haven't asked anything. The only question I asked was, can he crack? I said, does he hit that? And he was like, he can crack, and that's all I needed because then that gave me more motivation. Be like, oh well, here we are. Now we can definitely, it's different if you've got pillow hands and you start hitting someone, but if he's got bigger, if he can hit hard gives me that more incentive to be then well on me now, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's good as well. Like
So
that you take that, that you're still taking out everything around you as well. Do you know what I mean? Like one of the things, like you said, you ask Cornelius that one question, he's like, can he crack? And you find out that you can. So you're like, right, now full steam ahead. Do you know what I mean? And as you said,
Yeah.
it kind of like motivates you that little bit more. And I'll be honest, bro, right? From a promoter's point of view, I am fucking pumped. Like,
Good, good. Yeah, no,
honestly. And
no, and I think because we're both counter strikers, the only way to win this is to go forward.
mhm,
I'll be honest, like, don't get me wrong, he can wait and he can slip, but he's also, I'll be honest, I don't think he's going to take the chance. Again, I've seen his fights, he's a phenomenal fighter, but he's going to get in there and he is also going to realize with 4 ounce gloves, he is going to have the same lump in his throat that everyone else does when he first put on a pair of 4 ounces, because you can't train for it,
yeah.
you can't emulate it, and you, like, it's his first time with 4 ounces on, yeah?
It is, it is. We were supposed to, in
Yeah,
Rhondda
so that,
Rampage 1, he was
yeah,
supposed to fight JPL from Lincoln Fight Factory in Falls, but JPL unfortunately got injured. So then he ended up fighting Shaba from T-Soft in the tens.
yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's not game. He is 100% game, and I can see he carries himself. He's built to be a good fighter, mate.
Mm.
He absolutely is. But as I say to everyone, and I've been in there with some top boys, but as soon as you put the 4 ounce gloves on, or as soon as you're bait, look at Bogdan. Bogdan's probably a better K1 fighter than me. But as soon as I got in there and it was bare knuckle, and I cracked him with one uppercut,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I watch his game plan change. Like, it just does. It does change you. And it comes down to which one of us is going to hold our balls the most.
Yeah.
Who's gonna hold their bottle the most and not take the step back? You know what I
Now,
mean?
one of the
And
things
like
that
I
you
said, I have.
what I was going
Sorry,
to
mate.
say,
Go on, go on.
it's all right. What I was going to say, one of the things that you said is the preparation is you can't spar in the fours, which
Yeah,
it's not, you can't, it's not like it's something that you can do on a Friday because one, there's not a lot of people who want to
no,
do the sparring in the fours. And two,
yeah.
like, as you said, you only can touch each other in the fours and it is like a fucking fight. Like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I remember the semi, like, back with MMA when it first come through, when like MMA first come through on the scene in the semi-pro MMA days, and like when you wear in the 4 ounce gloves and you in before they had the eights, do you know what I mean? Like that's all you could fight in was
Yeah,
the fours. And I remember my first time sparring and getting hit in the fucking side of the head with a fucking 4 ounce glove from a turtle position. You're like, it feels like I'm getting hit with a sledgehammer, but yeah, this is lovely. So,
uh,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
it's one of them where you're right. It is hard to prepare. It is hard to prepare. But one of the things that I take from that is even though it's hard to prepare, I think that's what kind of gives it that little bit more of an edge because you're just like, right, I can't do, too much more. I can't, and I think that's what makes the fights that little bit better because you're not overthinking, but you're planning ahead that little bit more. You're not just
yeah.
throwing hooks or you're not just throwing any wild shots and you're taking them on the arms because you can't do that in big gloves. But with a smaller shot, with the smaller gloves, and as you can't do that, because you feel
No,
everything,
absolutely not.
and your hands are so like it goes to the point of like with boxing gloves. You can put your hands in, you're covered. With these, you literally have to turn everything in. And again,
Yeah,
it's the excitement level that brings. And I think that with the preparation from training, I think your cardio and your strength and conditioning is always one of the biggest parts in that because for me, if your tank can hold you, I think everything else will be fine. And I think that's I think in all honesty, that's the only preparation you can really do for these hybrid fights is just making sure that you're one, prepared, two, fit, and then three, you just come in and you game. And obviously that's where you definitely sound fucking game. And obviously I speak
no,
for Jori as well, and Jori's the same. So, it is one of those. And like I said, it's a big fight for the right reasons, and
yeah. And again, he's got a good opportunity by you because it's one thing to beat me in MMA, right? Because the one thing that does piss me off with the MMA boys is that they all take the pride in, oh yeah, no worries, I submitted him. No problem, yeah. But how many of you have finished me on my feet? Not one of them did. And again, I'm not taking away they are all phenomenal fighters and they definitely beat me. I'm just saying, but the choice to not engage with the striking goes to, and it always makes you feel good because it's a testament then to that. Instead of wanting to beat me at my game,
hmm,
they've all chose, now fuck that, I'm going to just dive for your legs. And that's fine. That it's a game. And I'm not taking away from wrestlers because trust me when I tell you, wrestlers are probably the most dangerous style of fighters. And they're phenomenal. Like Levi Bachelor, like
yeah,
Levi's phenomenal.
yeah.
Like I kicked him, and then all of a sudden, then I. he wore me like a glove. But as I said, I kicked him that once, I give him a big one, and then all of a sudden, anyways, close the distance, shut it down. And again, they it is not disrespect because maybe Levi might have, but again, is it worth taking that risk? Because if I catch them, maybe it might, it's 4 rounds in. Because is it really worth taking that risk against an unorthodox style of
Yeah,
MMA fighter, you know?
yeah,
Um, and like I said, I just with the 4 ounces, it's why I like with us being locked in that the square in the ring. I don't know why I said square. What the fuck? Sorry. When you're locked in that ring, we are both in there for the same job. We have got 4 ounces on. He is not allowed to kick. I'm not allowed to kick. We're not allowed to wrestle. We can't wrestle. The only thing we can do is punch each other really, really fucking hard. So that's great. That's perfect because then it's everything else I need to worry about. We just need to worry about hit each other in the face first. And that, well, myself as a striker, test myself against you, boy. I won't lie. And I'm very motivated to make sure that I'm not being a stepping stone for him because he can go on to do good things. And if he lights up boys the way he's doing, and he can put, he say now he master classes me and beats the living piss out of me. He can go on to be a decent BKB fighter, absolutely. Like I said, I don't want to be his stepping, go and build himself up off someone else.
no, I get that,
You know what I
and
mean? So, although it's not personal,
it's a good thing that you said though. One of the things that you've got is the respect aspect. Like you get so many people that are like, oh yeah, fuck this guy. I'm just gonna fucking walk through him. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. And one of the things that you've shown is the fact that you're very realistic. I'll be honest.
oh yeah,
Jori is a tough fight. He is. He can dance. He can move. He can punch, and not just that as well. He can take a shot, and that's one of the things that, like I said, I think that coming from your side is really good and it's really good to you from a training perspective is the fact that you're like, right, I need to be on fucking point for this. I need to be there ready to go. And I think that's, again, it's the excitement that adds to it. Now, one of the things I
yeah,
wanted to touch on is you said that you've watched his past fights. Now, he won the 60-kilo title on the first one, and then he went up to
yes,
Bristol, and then he won a Southern Area title against the late Steppin.
yeah.
Now, he's on a 2-fight win streak. Is there anything that you feel with the momentum coming into this one?
So, and again, I say this is more somebody, the old Dusty fighter, giving a bit of knowledge over, right? He had a late step in off the last guy, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
we were 4 weeks
and
out, and no, sorry, 2 weeks out, and the guy that we were supposed
yeah,
to be fighting, he got injured, so then it was a late step, and the boy was 12-3, uh, from Hard Knocks Gym, I think it was. I can't really remember off the top of my head because it was two of the boys fighting at the same on the
and
same
again,
evening.
like all his fights, again, as a promoter, as his thing, not I can see by his record, you haven't padded him at all.
No,
So he's been tested, and also he's had the amateur circuits as well. So like nothing's been padded, but will say let's give you a very, very false sense of narrative. Belt, and all of a sudden that mindset changes to, oh well, I'm the best around. Yeah,
mm.
but you're the best around in a small area right now. And I'm not saying that's what your boy does. I'm just
No,
giving an
no, of
example
course.
of how many boys I've seen. Mate, I've been to shows where the guys won one fight, the first ever fight, calling for a belt. It's like, mate, you really haven't been around long enough
Yeah,
to be able to do that. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? And like for boy Jason Bolden, and really good boy. He was 10-1 at the time,
mm.
and he was really sharp. But I know it sounds the same, but I won the belt only because of his age and his experience. And I know that's not I'm not taking away from him. He's a very good fighter, and he's very similar to your boy the way he fights. But your lad's a bit bigger, and I think he cracks a little bit harder. But Jay is just as tough as him. But we done it in boxing gloves. But this is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I think your guy is grounded enough. Like I love his persona. I love the whole like he's a cocky, arrogant guy about it, but he's not. He's a respectful dude. I can see that. He's a fighter, but he understands the game as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think that he's humble enough to know that just because he's had those belts doesn't mean anything's changed. He knows the levels are going to get harder, going to get bigger, and like I said, it's just about staying grounded with it. But also, he's lost. I mean,
Yeah.
he knows what taking a loss feels like.
Yeah. He's
So
currently
once
six
you
and
take
two.
it, yeah, and when you understand loss, that's okay then, because believe it or not, it actually levels you out. The boys who are undefeated who go on to lose, it hits you a little bit more. And as well, it's mad how many people give a shit when you're winning, and then as soon as you've lost, no one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true
You
as
know what I
well.
mean? Mate, the first and second BKB fights, I had over 1,000 messages, right? And honestly, I swear to you, I had 6 messages after my last fight because I lost.
It's mental,
Do you know
isn't
what
it?
I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. And like I said, this is why my circle is like minute. It's tiny. I've literally got about 5 people that are involved in anything to do with my fighting or my life or anything like that. Because, like I said, I don't give a shit about being, do people think, market tool, and I like this now. This is brilliant to push a fight, but also after that, it just woke me up to the fact of look, none of you really give a shit, and that's okay. But I'm just gonna do me without worrying about trying to entertain people. And that bit of advice to you guys, just don't ever like, just make sure he stays as he is, and he doesn't, don't worry about what the fuck people think. Just be you, well, regardless of what happens. You know what I mean?
Oh, but that's one of my biggest preachers is fuck what everybody else says, do you?
Yeah, exactly. And me, it's such well, one of my least favorite lines is "It is what it is," and that is so true. Like I said, you either got a really great team around you or you haven't. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I have bounced around gyms, and I've been a bit of a gym slag, and I can travel around and go to different places, and I'm welcomed and things like that. But to be honest, it's just very hard to, when you have a good team around you, that is great. But trying to find that is not easy either. I was very lucky through my MMA days coming up. I had a good MMA team, but unfortunately, kind of stepped away from there. And then I was working up in Llinvi Valley, but again, I can't get up there enough, so it was a little bit more difficult. So I just kind of centered all my training now to be in POWS down with Corn and that.
Yeah.
And I've kind of created everything I needed in one space between 5 boys. Do you know what I mean? I go to Swansea to work with some of the boys up there as well. Um, but again, a lot of it I just keep close to the chest, and I'm just, I'm just looking forward to this. So, like you said, we've said it over and over. Like, I'm fully aware that your guy is mature enough. He understands the crack, and he knows like these belts don't mean anything when he gets in there. And I think after this win or loss, just saying, like whatever he gets out of this fight, it'll be a big thing mentally for him, because going in there with 4 ounces against someone who's an experienced fighter is going to be massive.
It is. Now, one of the things I wanted to pick your brain on right now is what's your advice? Obviously, we touched on it just a little bit there, but what's your advice for any aspiring fighters? So coming up, if they're, making their amateur debut on an MMA show, K1 show, boxing show, anything, what would you tell those fighters coming from your background now?
Right. So I work with some boys who are very much how can I explain? I won't give names away, but it's so like they're young, but they live in this social media world where it's talk shit, and and I mean they talk mad shit, and they're putting up posts of the other opponent, they're trying to get bites out of them, and I just think to myself, I'm like, it actually makes me sad. I think to myself, like that's so, you know, mate, fighting is an art, and like I said, we get to do it for fun and things like that. Why does it need to go to a place where it just becomes personal and vindictive and just unenjoyable? I don't like seeing that. I know people like drama, but I'm telling you now, more people prefer like a good, honest, absolute barn burner than two guys having a beef, swinging at each other and trying to push each other, and then get in there and the fight shit.
Yeah.
I just think that the social media aspect just needs to push yourself as much as you can, but do it in a way that doesn't fall down on you like a ton of bricks. Do you know
No,
what I mean?
I got you. And I think that is one of the best things because there are so many people around who think that 8 weeks into training that they can start shouting off or calling out somebody or, you
Yeah,
have one or two fights and then you start calling out somebody who's, I don't know, like
yeah, yeah,
fucking ranked, in the UK or you start calling out somebody who's
yeah, yeah.
and I think that you're hiding behind the facade then. I think they're hiding behind the fact that you can do it through your screen, but if you see them face to face, your ass just goes. Do you know what I mean? And I think that obviously
Yeah,
everyone
uh,
needs social media because of, as you said, you've got to sell yourself, but at the same time, just do it the right way.
yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, right? I did, I like the youngsters who are hungry. Like for example, Tommy, terrible with his name. He's out in Thailand now. He trains. He went out there with Mac.
Yeah, yeah, I know, Tommy, yeah.
Mate, what a phenomenal fight and what a way a youngster should conduct himself. He was 5 years of age in the summer camp I was teaching. Right. And I worked with him doing a little bit of MMA stuff that we were doing in this summer camp thing, right? And then after that, honestly, seeing him then like, I don't know, nearly 10 years later, we accidentally bumped into each other in a training session. He goes, "Oh, you're Ashley, you're the guy who trained me years ago." I was like, "Oh my God." And seeing how he conducts himself, seeing how
Yeah.
he trained me actually for this fight, that's how you should, he works hard. He's not out drinking, smoking, and doing drugs and things like that. He is fully invested in what he loves. And I think that is, like I said, I can't speak highly enough of Tom. He's like a little nephew. He's fantastic and he carries himself really well.
He was fighting this week, wasn't he? He fought out I can't remember the name of the stadium, but I watched it. It was Jumpy shared it from Matt Muay Thai.
Yes.
I watched it on Facebook and what a scrap. Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
again,
Mate,
like
I
just
messaged him
so
after his
powerful.
last one, and I was like, yeah, and for his age,
Mm,
at 16 years of age, how you imagine you having that much drive at 16, or imagine having the team he's got with as much drive and things like he's super, like the money he earns, he puts straight back into his training. It's like, like investing in his future. And I think
yeah.
that is how you do it. And like he doesn't give a shit if he like, of course he cares if he loses, but he is there to fight and he is there to represent himself the best way he can. And I just think that is how you should do it. And I absolutely agree with, don't get me wrong, he does a bit of shit talking here and there, but never anything that goes too far. He trains, he gets it, and that is the most important thing he can ask for.
And that's the thing. It's again it's leading by example, isn't it? And leading by example, and
Yeah,
then being at the forefront and showing others what's capable. And I agree with you. Tommy has done Liam speaks to him quite a bit, and Tommy's done so much. And then, like I said, with Jimpy, with Matt Muay Thai, Jimpy shares his fights,
yeah,
and it's great to see. It's great to see the Welsh
yeah.
coming through and doing the workout in Thailand. And it is it's awesome.
Yeah, like I always give credit, especially as far as striking goes. Like the two main guys is Wally and Giffy. I'm not being funny. Giffy's the godfather of Muay Thai and striking in this country.
Mm.
I respect him so much. You know what I mean? You got like Dino Gamatesa and then Richard Shaw, the MMA side of things, who really built up shows. But as far as K1 and striking goes, those two, like and they got such talent, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I fought Ellis, I can't remember his surname. Ellis was a
Ellis
phenomenal
Lewis.
fighter. Oh, mate, like I said, fair play. He was so smart. He check left up me and he dropped me.
Yeah, I was
Like
there
he
for that
didn't put
one.
me out, but yeah. And like again, I stepped into that injured with last minute notice, but it just goes to show, mate. Even if I was, even if I was full health, is phenomenal that he was able to do that. Catch someone, he must have read that and he studied that and he studies and he trains hard. And I just think the way these boys are doing it, them anyway, is you can't ask for better,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And I agree, but that's the thing, innit? Is having the team around you and having the people that are pushing you the right way. Like Wally, what when you said about Wallace, like touching back to Wallace with the K1, Wally's exactly the same, and
Yeah,
again, he's bringing out so many great fighters that we've got. I think we've got one of the WMO title, the
yeah,
first one to happen in Wales. That's up against from a boy from Eagles and from KGB, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
it just shows, man, like the
Yeah, but it's growing. We're putting our stamp on it. As far as
yeah,
striking goes in this country, we're getting there. Like, don't get me wrong, our MMA is good. Our MMA is good. But if it, I won't lie, I've seen the MMA talent in England is well, there's a couple of gyms that just make me nervous, even when they mention that you're fighting some guy from there, just because I know like they're full of like Dagestani, you know,
yeah,
hold you down and smash your teeth out kind of fighters, which is great. But I'm just saying that there's levels, and I think that got a little bit more to go in the MMA. Some of the fighters are there,
mm,
absolutely can hang with the best. And I'm just saying, as far as um, that, it just needs a little bit of catch up. But as far as striking goes, mate, I'm a full believer in that. I think our striking can go toe to toe with like anyone. You know what I mean? Like
oh,
I said, some of the Muay Thai guys are catching up to like, some of the top levels, especially like, like even some of the boys from Bad Company. I know some of Giffy's boys have fought some of the top boys from there. It just goes to show like the talent pool is getting real big in this country.
it is, and it's great as well. It's great to see like that such a small country is developing such big things,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
that's what it
exactly.
is. That's what it is. Like now, Ash, we're coming to
No,
the
it's
coming to the end now,
yeah, go on,
brother.
mate. Go on.
Right? So there's a couple of other questions I want to touch on, but number one is what can every fight fan that comes on February the 8th expect to see from you when you fight Jory? And what can they expect when you fight?
So I'm like I'm coming there to again, not sounding disrespectful. I'm coming there to put him to sleep, same as he is for me. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try and find his chin and I'm going to snipe him. And I'm going to try and put him to, and I'm going to hopefully win that fight. And I'm going to have my hand raised. And that's going to be a really, really good start to my 2025. But even regardless if shit is going south, I am coming there for an absolute war. I really have locked it in my head that I need this. I need this for my own sanity to go in there and give it 110%. So he is going to get everything thrown at him. So I do hope that he is like the best shape he can be and the best mental state he can be because we're going to put fireworks on. And I have no doubt about that. And we're both going to smile at each other from across that ring and there's going to be blood on someone's face, or there's going to be us pissing with blood with a broken hand, and we're both going to smile, and we're both going to know this is fucking let's go like. And I think that's what people have to look forward to. And you'll always see me with a smile in a fight. I'll always smile about it because that's my favorite place. So if he wants to meet me in my favorite place, let's fucking go like.
Love it. I love it. Now, the last one, brother, is where can everybody find you just to keep up to date with your training and just to keep up to date with your continuing fights and all that type of stuff?
So I'll be honest, I stepped back majorly from the social media, but what I am going to be doing now after I'm going to start pushing it now in the next few weeks. But right now, I just got my Instagram, which is Ash. I think it's Ash Wills. Just Ash Wills.
Um,
And I use Snapchat quite a lot for my training, which is Ash Wills K1. Um, and yeah, I'm just mainly working on there at the minute, but I will be pushing quite a lot more with the social media as I'm working with a new manager who's going to be hopefully helping me push for some bigger fights and that in, you know, the bigger circuits, hopefully get abroad and things like that. So I kind of want to document the journey.
yeah.
These last 3, 4 years now of me fighting at like a crazy level, I kind of just want to document and I want to just show people that, all right, I know everyone likes the glitz and glam of like the top level fighters, but also I'm going to show what somebody who does it to be able to put food on their table looks like
Hmm.
and what getting up every morning and still training and still trying to have a full-time job while, being beat up and banged up, but doing it every week, not just now and again, every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to document that and maybe just show that there's another side to fighting that might not be as glamorous, but I tell you what, it takes just as hard and dedication to be
Mm.
able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
No, I like that. That's good, Aris, bro. That's really cool. Now, the last one, bro. Have you got any shout outs to any sponsors or anything you want to give?
I got to be honest, I haven't racked up any sponsors for this fight, so I do apologize. I shout out POWS Gym, Cornelius, all the boys who helped me out. Yeah, and that's it really, mate. I at the moment I'm pretty. This one's going to be pretty bare back. It's going to be not a lot on my shoulders. It's just going to be me going in there, and then after that, then when people see that I'm kind of back on this horse, then I can start going right. If you want to be part of this to get back on the big screens, then you can start, start looking for sponsors. But again, to be honest, mate, I'm actually going to be representing your stuff. I'm going to be coming in with flow fight gear,
Yeah,
so I just got to
that's
do that,
true.
like.
That's
Oh,
true.
actually,
Thank.
no, no, no. Tell a fib, I do have one, which is totally against
I
what
was,
I
do you
do.
know,
But
right? I was just about to say there is one that you need to give a shout out to.
yeah, 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 yeah. Right, which I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything like that. But he is one of my best mates, and he has sponsored me from day one, which is Booze and is Tom. I call him Shop Tom, but he is the best guy in the world, and he's helped me out with everything. So he'll be there in the fight as well. But yeah, they're the only ones I need to give a shout out. If you need a
Awesome.
vape, go to Booze, right?
Love it. Love it. Ash,
Thanks.
thanks very much. But I just want to say, like I said, from my perspective, one of the things is I'm really excited for it. I can't wait. From a coaching perspective, I really look forward to for Jory standing across the ring from you. And in all honesty, bro, I can't wait for it. It's going to be a fucking scrap. Now, with that, I just want to say thank you. And I just want to say thanks to everybody else, guys. And thanks to our sponsors. We've got Forbidden Supplements, Muscle Mechanics, Skinny Lager. There's so many that support Flow Fight Club, and without everybody else, without all of those sponsors, we'll be able to do it. Big thanks to Flow Fightwear as well. And tickets now are now available on Boxed and also available from Fighters. So if you do want to get some tickets, get all of them now, guys, because I guarantee we're going to be sold out on the day. On the day, we're already pushing. I think we've got 75% tickets already gone. So if you can get them done, get them in as soon as you
Oh,
possible.
excited.
I love it.
Yeah, no,
Awesome.
looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Hey,
Aw-
guys, pleasure. Thank you very much. Look
Awesome.
after yourself, okay?
Thanks very much, brother. Thank you.